If you ask anybody, I was the only one doing it. In all of Hollywood. It was just me, and nobody wanted to help me. You know, producers, now it's a normal thing if you have a drug or an alcohol or a sex addiction.
In 1977, Lauren Tewes became an overnight sensation as Julie McCoy on The Love Boat. By 1984, she had lost everything: her role, her fortune, even her home. While fans believed she left to get married, the real story remained buried for decades. Today, she's finally sharing the real story of why Julie McCoy had to leave, and the 22-minute meeting that ended it all. Lauren Tewes was born on October 26, 1953, in Braddock, Pennsylvania. She grew up in a working-class family with 3 siblings. Her father, Joseph, was a skilled wood pattern maker, and her mother, Joanne, managed their home. Lauren's family had German roots, and her grandfather was a German immigrant. Life was simple but steady in their industrial town. When Lauren was 8, everything changed. On August 15, 1961, her family moved across the country to Whittier, California. The move was a big adjustment. Pennsylvania's tough industrial environment was nothing like the sunny suburbs of California. Lauren struggled to fit in at her new school. Her East Coast accent made her stand out, and she felt like an outsider. But something good came out of this tough time. In 5th grade, she joined the school's drama club. Her first role was as a mischievous elf in the Christmas play. She loved being on stage, and it made her feel confident and happy. That moment sparked her love for acting. When she started high school at Pioneer in 1967, Lauren threw herself into acting. She performed in 12 plays over 4 years and quickly became the star of the drama program. Her hard work paid off when she won the school's Best Actress award 3 years in a row. In her senior year, she played Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. Her performance wowed everyone, earning her a standing ovation and local recognition. Her drama teacher believed in her talent and encouraged her to pursue acting as a career. After graduating in 1971, Lauren wanted to keep acting, but money was tight. She chose to study theater arts at Rio Hondo College, a local community college. It wasn't fancy, but it was a start. She worked hard, performing in 7 plays, including Much Ado About Nothing and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Her talent caught the eye of her professor, Richard Chamberlain. He became her mentor, challenging her to take on harder roles and improve her skills. Lauren gave it her all, and in 1973, she won the Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Theater. The award came with a scholarship that allowed her to transfer to UC Riverside. At UC Riverside, Lauren got a taste of the bigger theatrical world, but her time there didn't last long. After her scholarship ended in 1974, she couldn't afford to stay. She was disappointed, but determined. Instead of giving up, she took a bold step and joined the Pacific Conservatory Theater in Santa Maria, California. It was hard work, with long days and tough roles, but she loved it. Lauren Tewes' Hollywood journey started with something small but surprising. On July 15, 1974, when she was just 20 years old and struggling to survive in Los Angeles, she landed a simple 30-second Lipton iced tea commercial. It wasn't a big movie or a popular TV show, just a short ad. But it changed her life completely. In the commercial, she smiled and drank iced tea on a hot summer day, looking happy and natural. People loved it, and it caught the attention of important people in Hollywood. That little ad earned her $3,500, which was a huge deal for her at the time. More importantly, it opened big doors. Because of the Lipton commercial, Lauren got into the Screen Actors Guild, which was the key to getting real acting jobs. She joined on August 1, 1974, and right after, she signed with the William Morris Agency, one of the biggest talent agencies. After the Lipton ad, Lauren's career started picking up speed. Between 1974 and 1977, she appeared on 14 TV shows. Her first dramatic role was in a crime show called The Manhunter in 1974. A few months later, in January 1975, she showed up in Charlie's Angels, playing a woman stuck in prison. People noticed her talent. Then, in 1976, she played a district attorney on Starsky and Hutch, a role that really stood out. Aaron Spelling, a big-time TV producer, saw her and thought she had something special. In an interview, Spelling said, "Lauren had this rare mix of wholesomeness and sex appeal that I knew audiences would love." He kept an eye on her work, impressed by her ability to move between dramatic and comedic roles. In 1976, Spelling started working on a new show set on a cruise ship. He thought Tewes might be perfect for the role of the ship's cruise director, but instead of offering her the role right away, he tested her in auditions for other projects under his production company. Tewes didn't know Spelling had plans for her. She kept auditioning, impressing casting directors, but not landing any major roles. Behind the scenes, Spelling was quietly preparing her for what would become the defining role of her career. In October 1977, Tewes' life changed overnight. On October 15th, at 9 p.m., she got a call from Aaron Spelling offering her the role of Julie McCoy, the cruise director on the Love Boat. Filming was set to start the very next morning. Tewes later said she thought it was a prank at first. Who offers a lead role with less than 12 hours' notice? She recalled, but it was real. She spent the night memorizing her lines and learning about cruise ships. The next morning, she had to be on set at the RMS Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. Her car wasn't working, so she borrowed $17.50 from a friend to fix a tire on her old Volkswagen Bug just to get there. She didn't know it yet, but this job was about to make her a star. Lauren had a lot to do right away. She had to memorize 47 pages of dialogue in less than a day. She practiced her lines in every free moment, even hiding in the bathroom on set to rehearse. On her very first day, she kept messing up her main line. "Hi, welcome aboard. I'm Julie McCoy, your cruise director." She was so nervous that she said Julie McLeod instead, 23 times. But everyone saw that she had something special. Just 3 days later, the producers rewrote a lot of her scenes, giving her a bigger role because they knew she was perfect for the part. Lauren wasn't the first choice for the role. She beat out 99 other actresses, including Meryl Streep, who was still unknown at the time. The casting director said Lauren got the job because she could cry on cue. During her audition, she was asked to cry, and tears started rolling down her cheeks in just 7 seconds. That sealed the deal. When The Love Boat premiered on September 24, 1977, it was an instant hit. It made cruises super popular, with bookings going up by 172%. Cruise lines had to build more ships just to keep up with the demand. The theme song became famous too. It even became Norway's merchant marine anthem for a while. People everywhere loved The Love Boat, and its influence could be seen in fashion, travel, and even the Navy's recruitment campaigns. Fans were so obsessed with the show that they even created a fake country called Love Boat Nation on a decommissioned ferry. They had their own passports and money with the cast's faces on them. The Coast Guard shut it down after 37 days, but it showed how much people loved the show. And all of this made Lauren famous overnight. In just 2 weeks, people were recognizing her everywhere. Fans started doing crazy things. One day, over 300 people mobbed her in a supermarket, causing thousands of dollars in damage. The producers had to hire 3 bodyguards to follow her everywhere for 8 months. She got 1,500 fan letters every week, and some even included marriage proposals. One fan sent her a rose petal every day for a year, ending with a full bouquet. But fame came fast, and it wasn't easy to handle. By 1979, just 2 years into the show, Lauren was already feeling the pressure. Hollywood was a world she wasn't used to. She once said it felt like being a kid from Whittier, California, suddenly thrown into a life of glamour and excess. She didn't know how to fit in. Lauren started going to fancy Hollywood parties. These events were full of confident, glamorous people, and she felt out of place. She began drinking at these parties, thinking it would help her relax and fit in better. But the long filming days, which started early in the morning, didn't mix well with late nights and heavy drinking. Soon, Lauren started showing up late to set, sometimes hungover. People around her noticed the changes, but the show was doing so well that no one stopped to ask what was wrong. By 1980, The Love Boat was a massive hit, with millions of viewers. The bigger the show got, the more pressure Lauren felt to look and act perfect. She attended high-profile events, but instead of feeling happy, she felt more out of place. At one party, she overheard actresses talking about using cocaine to stay thin and full of energy. This stuck with her, especially because she was told she needed to lose weight to keep her role on the show. Everything changed on Valentine's Day in 1981. Lauren went to a big party, feeling vulnerable after a breakup. A director approached her and offered her cocaine, saying it would help her relax. Lauren had seen it before, but always said no. That night, she gave in. She later said that in that moment, she just wanted to feel like she belonged. The cocaine made her feel confident and unstoppable. She thought she had finally found a way to fit in. But this choice quickly turned into a problem. By the summer of 1981, Lauren was using cocaine several times a week, even while working on the show. During this time, Lauren tried to hide her addiction. She arrived at work early to use cocaine in private, and came up with excuses for her runny nose and other signs of drug use. She even wore a padded suit to make it look like she hadn't lost weight. She used the drug to stay awake and focused, but it was destroying her. Tewes later admitted she sometimes showed up to work after days without sleep, and her appearance started to change because of the drug use. Tewes tried to hold everything together, her job, her marriage, and her life. But it was impossible. In 1985, she said, "I was trying to keep my job, keep my husband, keep my house. I was trying to please everybody, and I was destroying myself." By the show's 7th season in 1983 to 1984, her addiction was no longer a secret. Co-stars and producers saw the toll it was taking. Even though she went to rehab in 1982, it didn't help because she kept using drugs while working on the show. The pressure to keep up a perfect public image while fighting her addiction caused her to lose weight, damage her teeth, and suffer from mood swings and paranoia. Her addiction also ruined her relationships on set. In the early seasons, her co-stars, like Gavin MacLeod and Bernie Coppell, supported her. But as her drug use worsened, they became frustrated. She started arriving late, forgetting lines, and even showing up visibly under the influence. These problems caused delays and reshoots that cost the studio thousands of dollars. One day, in 1983, Tewes locked herself in her dressing room for hours, and an entire day of filming had to be canceled. Producers tried to help her by sending her to rehab, but it didn't work. Her behavior kept getting worse. There were also incidents on set that shocked everyone. In one episode in late 1983, Tewes arrived so intoxicated she couldn't say her lines. After several failed attempts, she started yelling at the director and stormed off the set. During a location shoot in the Caribbean in 1984, she disappeared for 24 hours, leaving everyone worried. They eventually found her in a local bar, incoherent and unable to explain where she had been. That mistake cost the production an entire day and $100,000. She also showed up late, or not at all many times. Once, during a live promotional event, she was visibly under the influence and almost fell off the stage, embarrassing her co-stars. Her addiction didn't just cost her health, it also left her broke. At her peak, Tewes earned $10,000 per episode of The Love Boat, which is like $35,000 per episode today. But all the money disappeared into her addiction. She admitted that during the worst times, she spent over $1,000 every day on cocaine, adding up to $365,000 a year. In total, she blew through about $2 million, which would be around $7 million today. She lost her house and car because she couldn't make payments. By 1984, when she was let go, she had almost nothing left. Lawsuits added to her problems. Creditors and even her former manager sued her for unpaid fees. In 1985, she filed for bankruptcy, saying she owed over $500,000 and had less than $100,000 in assets. Lauren Tewes' life hit a breaking point during The Love Boat's 7th season in 1983. By then, her cocaine addiction had taken over. Her weight had dropped to just 98 pounds, and her behavior caused massive delays in production. Things got worse on November 3, 1983, during the filming of an episode. In the middle of a scene, she had a severe nosebleed, forcing production to stop for over 2 hours. When the makeup team tried to help, she became angry, yelled at them, and stormed off. Later, co-star Ted Lang found her unconscious in her dressing room. Douglas S. Kramer, the executive producer, had been worried about Tewes for years. In 1982, he sent a memo to ABC executives saying her weight loss and mood swings were becoming serious problems. By late 1982, he had kept track of 23 times she was late, forgot her lines, or acted strangely. On January 7, 1983, he confronted her about drug use in a private meeting. She denied everything, got angry, and accused him of ruining her career. She stormed out, threatening to quit. In a final effort, producer Aaron Spelling offered to pay for her to attend an exclusive 6-month rehab program in Switzerland. At first, she agreed, but at the last minute, she refused. Witnesses heard her say, "I'd rather die than give up cocaine." It was clear by then that she couldn't continue on the show. On January 7, 1984, a private meeting was held with Kramer, Spelling, ABC executives, and lawyers. They debated for over 6 hours. The final decision came down to money. Her delays had cost the show $3.2 million over 2 seasons, and major sponsors were threatening to pull their ads. On January 10, 1984, Kramer delivered the news to her in person. The meeting lasted 22 minutes. Tewes broke down, crying uncontrollably. Medical staff had to sedate her afterward. To avoid shocking fans, the producers wrote her character, Julie McCoy, out gradually. Her final episode aired on February 25, 1984. In it, Julie announced she was leaving to get married. Fans didn't know the real reason at first. The first episode without her saw a 22% drop in viewers, but ratings recovered by the end of the season. Lauren Tewes left The Love Boat in 1984, but her life after that was not easy. Hollywood, where she was once a star, seemed to forget her. For 2 years, from 1984 to 1986, she kept auditioning but barely got any roles. She only managed a few small parts, like a minor role in the TV movie Hollywood Wives in 1985 and a guest spot on Hotel in 1986. The difference between being a star and struggling for small jobs was painful for her. In an interview in 1987, Lauren said she couldn't even get auditions for simple things like a dog food commercial. By the end of 1986, her savings were gone. In 1985, just a year after leaving the show, Lauren made a brief return to The Love Boat. At first, Lauren was unsure about returning. She worried it might bring back old problems, but producer Aaron Spelling personally assured her the environment would be supportive. When she stepped back on set, it felt strange. She said it was like stepping into a time warp. Everything looked the same, but felt different. The crew gave her a standing ovation, which was emotional for her. She filmed her scenes in just 3 days, appearing for only 11 minutes in the episode. She earned $15,000 for her work, which was far less than what she used to make. The episode got great ratings, with 15% more viewers than the previous week, but this was her last appearance on the show. After these struggles, Lauren decided to start over. In 1994, she moved to Seattle, Washington, and focused on regional theater and voice acting. She joined the Tacoma Actors Guild and regularly performed at the Seattle Repertory Theater. Between 1994 and 2000, she acted in over 20 stage productions, including A Streetcar Named Desire in 1996 and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in 1998. Critics praised her work, calling her performances emotional and powerful. At the same time, Lauren started voice acting, which allowed her to work without the pressure of being in the spotlight. In 1997, she got her first big voice role as Nadine the Narwhal in the Freddy Fish video game series. This led to more jobs in games like the X-Files game and Pajama Sam 3. By 2005, she had voiced over 30 projects. Lauren also dealt with a long battle with addiction, which began in the early 1980s. One day, she sat in front of her TV, high on cocaine and feeling lost. As she flipped through channels, the sound of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood caught her attention. Fred Rogers' gentle voice singing, "Won't You Be My Neighbor?" stopped her in her tracks. Something about it reached her in a way she didn't expect. Lauren couldn't look away. For 37 minutes, she sat watching Fred Rogers talk about self-worth and kindness, using puppets to help tell his stories. The warmth and calm of the show felt like a lifeline in the middle of her chaotic life. She started crying, overwhelmed by how different her life felt compared to the simple, good message of the show. When it ended, she felt something shift inside her. She realized her addiction wasn't just ruining her career, it was destroying her sense of self and her relationships with others. She later called this moment, "God speaking to me through Mr. Rogers." The next day, she called a rehab center. That was the start of her journey to sobriety. 2 days later, on January 24th, 1984, Lauren checked into the Betty Ford Center for a 30-day rehab program. It was hard. She went through group therapy, individual counseling, and faced the reasons why she had turned to drugs in the first place. When she left, the real work began. Hollywood didn't want her anymore because of her reputation for being unreliable, and she had lost her $50,000 per episode job on The Love Boat. But Lauren didn't give up. She went to Narcotics Anonymous meetings every day and worked with a sponsor to stay on track. In 1985, she decided to share her story publicly. She talked about her addiction and recovery in an interview with Barbara Walters. It was a brave move, and it helped others see that addiction could be overcome. Slowly, Lauren started to rebuild her acting career. She took smaller roles in TV movies and appeared on shows like Murder, she wrote. By 1990, Lauren had been sober for 6 years, She wanted to do more with her life, so she went back to school to study psychology and addiction counseling. She also started volunteering at rehab centers to help others going through what she had. In 1991, Lauren found a new passion: cooking. She had always loved food, especially the recipes her grandmother used to make. She decided to try something new and joined the Seattle Culinary Academy. She quickly fell in love with cheese making. After graduating in 1992, she worked in Seattle restaurants and became known as a talented sous chef. Her love for cheese kept growing, and in 1995, she went to France to learn more. She spent 3 months with a famous cheesemaker, Hervé Mons, learning the art of aging cheese and European traditions. When Lauren returned to the U.S., she turned her passion into something special. In 1998, she started the Cheese Whiz, a mobile cheese tasting service for events. Her unique story, going from TV star to cheese expert, made her popular. She appeared on TV and radio to share her love of cheese. In 2003, she earned a big honor, becoming one of only 45 people in North America to get a certified cheese professional title. Then, in 2005, she published a book called Say Cheese, a journey through the world of artisanal cheeses. It was a hit and helped more people discover how special fine cheeses could be. Lauren Tewes' first marriage was to John Wassell. They got married on November 20th, 1977. At the time, Lauren was just 24 years old and had just become famous for playing Julie McCoy on The Love Boat. It seemed like a happy start, but things went wrong quickly. Lauren's new fame and long working hours put a lot of pressure on their marriage. John, who directed TV commercials, struggled to handle her busy schedule. Lauren worked 14 to 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. They barely spent time together, and when they did, they often argued about her focus on work instead of their relationship. In 1978, Lauren started using cocaine. At first, it was just experimenting, but soon it became a serious addiction. She skipped family events and partied with Hollywood elites instead. John tried to save the marriage, giving her ultimatums to stop using drugs, but she couldn't quit. By 1980, their relationship was falling apart. Lauren's drug use started affecting her work too. She was often late to filming and became unreliable. Things reached a breaking point in late 1981 when she overdosed at a cast party. After that, John filed for divorce. It was finalized in early 1982. Lauren later admitted she ruined the marriage because of her addiction and obsession with fame. Losing John made her realize she needed to change, though it took years for her to stay sober. In 1987, Lauren faced one of the hardest moments of her life. She gave birth to her daughter, Bianca Joanne, on March 1st, 3 months too early. Bianca was tiny, weighing only 1 pound, 11 ounces. She was rushed to the NICU at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, and Lauren stayed by her side every day, barely leaving the hospital. The stress was overwhelming. Lauren even thought about using cocaine again to help her stay awake, but her sponsor and the nurses convinced her not to. Sadly, after a month of fighting, Bianca's little body couldn't survive. She passed away on April 1st. Lauren was heartbroken. She later said losing Bianca was the worst pain she ever felt. This tragedy changed Lauren deeply. She became a spokesperson for the March of Dimes, raising awareness about premature births. She also started the Bianca Joanne Tewes Memorial Fund, which has raised millions for neonatal research. Losing Bianca helped Lauren stay sober. She said she wanted to honor her daughter's memory by living a better life. In 1996, Lauren found love again with stage actor Robert Nadir. They met in 1993 while performing in a play, and dated for 2 years before getting married on May 1st, 1996. Robert was kind, supportive, and shared Lauren's love for theater. Together, they built a happy life in Seattle, becoming part of the local arts scene. But their happiness was short-lived. In 1997, Robert started feeling weak and tired. After months of tests, he was diagnosed with ALS, a deadly disease, in early 1998. The news was devastating. Lauren put her career on hold to care for Robert. She learned how to use medical equipment and took care of him full-time. Despite everything, they stayed connected to the arts. They even started a foundation to raise money for ALS research. Sadly, Robert's condition got worse, and he passed away in 2002, just 6 years after they married. Lauren said those years with Robert were the happiest and most meaningful of her life. He taught her what love and courage really meant. Today, Lauren is 71 years old and has found a new passion in radio drama. Since 2020, she has starred in a mystery comedy series called Murder and the Murdochs. She plays Maxine Murdoch, a private detective, and has also appeared in other radio shows. These roles have helped her connect with a new audience and keep her love for performing alive. In 2024, she joined a Love Boat panel on a cruise ship, where she shared funny stories and memories from the show. Lauren is also working on a memoir called Steering My Own Boat, which will be released in 2026. The book will share her struggles with addiction and her journey to recovery. In interviews, she's revealed surprising details about her life, like turning down $1 million to pose for Playboy during her Love Boat fame. Through everything, Lauren has stayed strong, using her experiences to inspire others and keep moving forward.